So KX, bonus story. The picture I showed you on the slides is actually of a constellation, and according to the story, those were 7 daughters of Atlas. And we haven't talked about Atlas, but we did talk about the Titans. And the Titans, if you recall, were the ones you've met were Prometheus and Epimetheus, and they helped Zeus sort of take over the world when he fought his own father. I don't even remember that early story we told so early in the year. But according to the story, Atlas had these daughters called the Pleiades, and he loved them very much. But because Atlas he spent his days actually holding up the world. Can you imagine that? Mrs. Coffin told you a story about, I do believe she told you a story about Hera and her dragon and the story of Draco. So there's a connection there about the apples. Then these daughters of Atlas were being bothered by Orion. There's a whole bunch of stories about Orion, but to cut a long story short, Orion just loved to chase the Pleiades all over the place, and he would just keep chasing them and wouldn't stop, kind of like some people at recess, right? And Atlas, because he couldn't help his daughters, and the daughters are getting quite annoyed at that being bothered by Orion all the time, asked Zeus to help his daughters, and Zeus's way of helping them was to turn them into a constellation. And that is the image you see on the slide. Now, there's another connection to this, and if we were in KX, I would have told you this earlier, but bonus story. We've talked about the idea that the labyrinth was infinite, that you could wander it forever, endlessly. And that's an idea that appears in a lot of the Greek myths. And so the idea of Orion just chasing these Pleiades. And there's another story of a hound or a dog, a hunting dog, that it was given as a gift, I believe, from one of the gods to a human. And this dog, they said, would never stop running until it caught what it was chasing. So it would never stop running until it caught what it was chasing. And it always caught what it was chasing. That was the thing. It would go after it, and it would always get it, okay? And guess what? Guess who this dog meets? Well, this dog meets a fox. And the fox also had a special gift. And this fox could never be caught. And this idea was an example given of a paradox, of a situation that really has no solution. So the dog won't stop until it catches what it's chasing, and it's chasing an animal that can never be caught. And so you can imagine this chase was going on for a long time. And again, Zeus steps in to help out, and what he does is similar to what he did here. He turns the dog, I want to say his name was Lelops, he turns Lelops into a constellation, and he turns that fox, whose name I am forgetting, these are such old stories called KX, turned the fox also into a constellation. And it is said, if you look up into the heavens, it still looks like the hound is chasing the fox, but at least they're not running over everybody on Earth. So I guess that was the solution to that problem. What do you think?